Welcome to Bleav in 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Teja Dash. Bleav in 76ers is presented by betonline.ag.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use promo code Bleav for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bleav in 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash here with legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow and my brother Teja Dash. And tonight we have a special guest, and it's kind of a family affair here on the Bleav in 76ers podcast tonight. It's Eric's son, EJ. EJ, what's going on, brother?
Doing well.
It's the real Eric Snow.
Yeah, we can say that.
So tonight's gonna be a great episode. As far as obviously we have the Dashes and we have the Snows together tonight in this one big trade deadline special we got tonight. But yeah, so we're gonna be going over a lot of the trades and a lot of all these rumors that are going on out there right now. And obviously, as you guys know, a couple days before the trade deadline, there's so many different rumors that are popping up. I don't know what's real and what's not, and there's so many sources that are saying all these guys are available for trade, but we're going to get into all of it tonight. Eric, before we get into it all, when it comes around this season, this trade deadline season, when you hear all these names of guys being rumored to be on the block, does it bring back like memories of back in the day when you were rumored to be on the trade block or whatnot?
No, not for me. I mean, I think the year I got traded before the trade deadline. And I knew I was getting traded. So it wasn't like a rumor. It was like I knew it was going to happen. I think maybe my last year in Philly was the only time that I could have, like it was rumors about the trade deadline. But BK was very upfront with me. Like I kind of knew who he was talking to. That's why I was very close to going to Orlando for Juwan Howard at that time.
Wow.
Okay. And I think Billy turned it down. I don't know why. Our contracts were very similar. It was just going to be a 1-for-1. And it ended up, for whatever reason, not going through. And then I was traded to Cleveland that summer. So other than that, I mean, I was never really one of those guys that was rumored, like,
dust it off. I was never talked about being traded.
I'm just saying, like, I in there all the time. So it's not really, sometimes it's not always you and your talents and skill as much as it is sometimes your contract.
Yeah.
And the need of the team. So it's some luck involved if you're not in, if your name isn't in there also.
Do you get like do you feel like this weight or elephant in the room in the locker room until it's like done and there's a sigh of relief afterwards? The closer you get.
Well, I mean, you really only feel that if you're a team that everyone knows is active. Like I would think that the Denver Nuggets don't feel that right now. I would say that Cleveland don't. I mean, the Clippers don't really feel that right now. You may have guys that make moves, but they're not coming in there with their main top 8, 9, 10 guys feeling like, man, I might get traded. But of course, PJ Tucker might get traded because he wants to get traded. But I don't think there's a big surprise where your glue guys, the guys that are playing every night, are questioning whether they're going to be there. So it's usually the teams that are like in the middle of the pack or kind of fighting for a playoff spot that you may have some uncertainty. Guys that are at the end of their contract, that's possible. Outside of that, no, it's you kind of know which teams it's possible, and you just want to get to that point where either it's going to happen or it's not. So
yeah,
once it happens, just kind of like, okay, good. At least I'm going to be here for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So you go from there.
Well, it should be a interesting week as far as the trade deadline, as far as our team, our squad, Sixers. So we'll kind of dive in right now to get everyone's input on the latest news before we get into the full trade deadline stuff that we got in store for you guys this episode. But so obviously a lot of mystery surrounding Embiid's recovery timeline. But according to Adrian Wojnarowski, the Sixers are going to be operating as though they are going to get Embiid back, and they want to be in the top 6 in the East. So my question to you guys, do you see the trades this week as a sign of how long management thinks you'll be out? And do you think we'll be buyers at the deadline? EJ, you want to lead us off, buddy?
Yeah, no, I definitely do see it as a sign of what they expect. And, I do think you'll be buyers at the deadline. I don't think you'll go all in. I think you'll go and get a nice center on the last year of his deal.
I like that.
Definitely need it. Yeah. Eric?
You go ahead, Teja. Go ahead, man. I don't talk about no trades. I'll give my opinion when you finish.
I think you'll get a sense one way or the other how they feel, because I think we're usually pretty open about surgeries and injuries, but whenever Embiid has one, it's always hush hush, and we don't know a lot. Even after the procedure, they're still. I think they have a lot of wait and see going on. But if they say they're going to operate under the assumption that he'll be back and they're going to reevaluate him in 4 weeks, I would think if it was a long-term outlook, I don't even think they'd be looking at him in 4 weeks, right? If this was like a 4 to 6 month recovery time for whatever they did, they wouldn't even be like reevaluating him after 4 weeks, right? That would have seemed like that would just seem way too premature and early for that. So just that alone makes me think that they do think he'll be back in 2+ months, which would put us right around the playoff time, right before the playoffs. And I think we will be buyers. I don't think I agree with EJ. I don't think it'll be crazy. I don't think we're going to get rid of our, long-term cap flexibility, but we'll look for guys that could help us on 1-year deals, I think.
Well, yeah, I think here's the objective. Are we still trying to win a championship?
Yes.
So if we're still trying to win a championship, you have to make some form of a move to help yourself stay in position to do that. And I think the best way to do that is you're thinking seeds, you're thinking still trying to make a run. You don't want to be in a situation where you end up playing Boston and you know what I'm saying, Boston in the first round. You know what I'm saying? Like that has to be a priority because we aren't too far from that, especially the way things have gone the last 5 or 6 games. So a move has to be made if your priority is still win the championship. If your priority is, if Joel isn't back, to move on and let's kind of save our cap space and see if we can increase our draft, pick. And I don't think that's the priority, but it can be. I honestly think it's kind of bad timing because you don't have 2 or 3 weeks or 4 weeks to kind of see how we're playing to make that decision.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever your priority was beforehand is going to take precedence. So I still think that the cap flexibility and not using it, and if you're bringing in players, they're going to have to be on the last year of their deals or last year of their deal in a non-guarantee in the future, is what it's going to have to be. And I think outside of that, they don't make moves. I really don't think they make moves outside of that. They maybe wait for the buyout market or something. So I would say that they may make a minor move. I don't think you can give up on Tobias with Joel out. You need some form of continuity from guys that's already been there this season. So I think you make a move where some people can help, or you think more guys that you feel are more of a consistent top 8 player. Whether that's a center or not, I don't know. You have to. I don't think you just go get any center. I mean, like Drummond names comes up, but the Bulls have to work with you. You know what I'm saying? So I do think something's done, but I do think there'll be buyers in the buyout market also, which I think keeps their plan in play.
I got a question for y'all. Outside of Maxey, Tobias, and Joel, is there anyone else who's untouchable in y'all's eyes?
Outside of who?
Tobias, Joel, and Maxey.
I don't think Tobias is untouchable.
Yeah, I would even say he's not untouchable.
Okay.
He's more valuable this year than maybe previously because his contract is up, so he's more valuable.
Yeah.
You can get more for him now than you could have definitely in the last 2 years.
Oh yeah,
even more so last year because he's in the last year of his deal. And teams, that's like an extra incentive when you have that cap flexibility where people, especially now with the new rules, are looking for that. So that makes his value more important. So that's something that's you got to think about too. Like, are we really just going to let him walk? Is going to be sign and trade? He has to be a part of that. Like, we don't know. So you had to make a decision on that.
Yeah.
And we already know they already put themselves in the hole by not giving Maxey an extension. Now he's whatever they thought they was going to give him, they're going to have to give him more now.
Yeah.
Yeah. We get that Tyler Hero contract we talked about.
Yeah. Maxey is getting the max.
Yeah. And with the time that Embiid's going to miss, who knows? He might make an All-NBA team if he has to put it on his shoulders for the rest of the year. That might be even more money in his pocket.
Yeah.
I guess and then two interesting stories came out. So, reports. Like you said, Eric, about the seating. I think Woj said, and maybe he's speculating, or it's someone he talked to in Philadelphia, that their goal is to stay in the 6 seed range. If they can maintain top 6, they'd be extremely happy with that. That's what they're trying to do. And then as far as like, I just think with what was the other report? Oh, and then that's what I was going to ask. How much do you think the timing of Embiid's injury is so bad because now we have to kind of prioritize like a big to a degree for an insurance policy so we don't have to rush him back. Because let's say we did get Drummond and he played great. You don't have to say, okay, Embiid, like we need you playing on like 1.5 legs for the rest of the season. You could say waited a little longer. But, I mean, how much do you like prioritize someone who can help now compared to someone who is just like gone in the offseason? Like, do you think a Band-Aid versus like something longer than that, right? I mean, that's why the report I was going to say was we're trying to package pick swaps and a bunch of our seconds to try to get other first-round picks from teams. So that tells me they're like, all right, we know if we get someone pretty good, we're going to have to pony up a first-round pick. We don't want to give one out of our own pocket. So we're going to try to package together all this other stuff, get another first-round pick, and then, acquire someone who's worth a first-round pick. Good luck with that, I guess.
Yeah.
Now,
Would you say, Eric?
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that talking about the untouchable aspect, and I know we always say that Maxey and Embiid are the only untouchables. But right now, would you say that because of Embiid's injury, would you consider Tobias an untouchable as of right now, in the current state of where we are right now?
No.
Okay.
No, but if they like the deal, they're taking it.
Yeah, I would not consider him that, but I would consider him a guy that's, like I said, he's valued more, but I don't think that it's. I think if the right deal comes, if you get someone that you like, um, he's they'll trade him, and they'll trade him without hesitation.
Yeah.
If they get the right price. Whereas Maxey, I don't think they would do that. Like you have to go with names that is special names to get him moved right now.
Yeah.
Steph and stuff like that. Like those are the names that will have to come up for him to be mentioned in the trade. Whereas Tobias, I don't think it'll take names like that. I think it takes really good players and the same kind of. If you get really good players and you get the same flexibility, you get maybe a player to fit. They make that move.
I think if they traded Tobias, I don't think it'd be a rental, like an expiring. I think if they traded Tobias, it'd be for someone they want to either has more years that they like, or they would re-up in the offseason.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Someone that they would have gone after, or they will go after in free agency.
Yes, exactly.
It has to be someone. I mean, they have people earmarked for who they would like to have as a piece that fits Joel and Maxey. If they find that guy and that guy becomes available, Tobias will be made available in order to make that happen.
Yeah.
All right, now we're gonna get to the nitty gritty, the trade deadline targets. All right, so the way we're gonna go about this is I try to tier it up with guys who are in certain groups, and also with as far as like as far as their money they're making this year, and trying to keep everybody in the same kind of tier. So we're gonna go by tier with this whole thing. We're gonna start off here with the first tier being kind of a pipe dream target, guys who aren't necessarily on the trading block, but guys who have been kind of thrown out there as far as a possible name that we could go for. So this is the first group we have here is our pipe dream targets. So I'm going to ask you guys to pick one of each. So there's six slides we're going to go through. You're going to pick one from each one. Give me your reason why you choose this guy over the others in the group. So Teja, Eric, EJ, I don't know who wants to go first with who you'd want to go with here of these two.
Yeah, I'm going last, man.
All right, go ahead, EJ.
For this one, I'm going to go with Mikal Bridges. I think he gives you too much on both sides of the court.
I agree. By the way, go back to Tobias. These are two guys, like this is the kind of guy that they would just no question throw Tobias in a deal. I'll go Bridges because I just think he fits. I think he fits most teams in the NBA, which I think that's why it's so impossible to trade for him. I would go Bridges.
Why do you think he fits most teams?
Because his kind of game is so flexible. He plays both sides. He can hit jumpers. He doesn't demand the ball. He doesn't need 20 shots a game to be valuable on your team. I just think those kind of guys can be thrown in on teams with stars. And he's a great, amazing third option. I think he could be a really, really good second option. I just think he's miscast as a top option.
And he'll want to be in Philly long term.
That's true.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. You can't say that if you never played in Philly. You never played in Philly, you can't say that.
He played in Philly for like 5 minutes.
Everybody's not made for Philly, man.
He has the Sixers draft day hat.
Yeah. He had the hat on for like 25 seconds.
Yeah.
Everybody's not made for Philly. It worked out for him.
Yeah.
It worked out for him. He can't complain.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go against you guys, and I'm going to say marketing. I think you give them more size and 3-point shooting. I like Mike Bridges. I do like him, especially as a third option with our team. But I think what you have on the team is closer to him than what you have in marketing. We have no one like him. If you trade Tobias, you'll have no one like him.
Yeah.
Or if you trade Tobias and you bring Bridges in, you have similar players. I don't think you have similar players that maybe at his level, but you have similar players. So I think you take away some of your versatility in making that happen. So I don't think it's as much as a marketing versus Bridges as much as it is fit. So I mean, what Kelly's doing, Kelly's arguably could fill in as a third option.
Yeah,
Similar to what Bridges is doing. You don't get the same both sides of the court, but you can get some of that from Melton. Like I just think you got guys that you can get some of the things that he brings to the table. You have a collection of guys you can get it. Especially with Batum, he's not a long-term thing, but he is a guy right now. So I just think marketing from a standpoint of most likely Tobias has to go. Like, who's going to play that position if he's gone?
and marketing could play center.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You get it with size.
Yeah.
So I just think that's more of the fit based on if Tobias is gone. Now, obviously, if you can somehow make it happen without Tobias, then Bridges fits. But I'm just assuming that this move has to be made with Tobias involved.
Yeah. Marcus?
I'd be happy with either one of these guys. I think I would say obviously both reasons what you guys what you said about Bridges and what Eric said about marketing. I'm going to go with the Bridges crowd here on this one. I do think he does have a lot of similar traits to what we already have on the roster. I just think he's a homegrown guy, he's a Philly guy, and I think
we ain't trying to just have nobody because he's from Philly, man. We're trying to win a championship.
No, you have one like that. His name is Marcus Morris.
Well, you could potentially have.
We have a homegrown guy right now. You didn't say that when he came home.
You could potentially have both of them on the squad, depending on what we trade. You could have two Philly guys. But yeah, I do think he pairs well with Embiid and Maxey, and long-term guy too. Man, I think he'd want to stay in Philly for the long haul.
Let me ask you three. Let me ask you guys. So we make this trade and we move Tobias for who's starting?
I'd say Maxey, Melton, Bridges, Batum, Embiid. And we get killed on the boards.
That would be my starting five.
But we're trying to win a championship, though. So who's going to guard Giannis in the second round?
Embiid.
So you're going to put an injured Joel on Giannis.
Oh, yeah.
And Giannis isn't going to guard Joel.
No. I mean, Batum could for stretches. Batum could guard him for stretches. I didn't say all game. For stretches, he
It's not that's what I've always told you guys. You got to remember, the playoffs isn't a game; it's a series.
Yeah.
What if instead of Batum you go with Paul Reed at the 4 in a series? In a series, we are playing Milwaukee, and we have him at the 4, and Batum comes off the bench.
Or shooting would take a hit, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just asking the question.
Yeah. Contractually, I didn't look at their contracts for how long they're on their current deal. Teja, do you know their contract situation for both these guys?
Markkanen's got 2 more years. I think Bridges has. I think it's definitely 2 or 3.
Okay. Similar.
Yeah, it's they're pretty similar.
Yeah, it would take a lot to get both these guys.
I mean, 2 more years. I think this year and next year. I think
Bridges' contract goes through 25-26.
Through it? Okay, so that's pretty good. So 2 more years after this, right?
Mm-hmm.
24, 25. Yeah.
Yeah. But
I think Markkanen's one less year than that, I believe.
Oh.
But I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got people for a good deal for like 3 more years. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And these are pipe dream targets. And Brooklyn said multiple times they were not getting rid of Bridges. I think I saw a report the other day that a team offered like 5 first-round picks for him, and they said no.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, him and Dorian Finney-Smith. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Which, yeah, I don't know what they're doing as far as that goes, but there you go. So these are pipe dream targets. These are ones. The next round we got more attainable guys. So we're going to go to our next slate of trade deadline guys. So these are guys who are all similar money. They have 1 year left in their deal. So we're going to choose one from this group of guys. A lot of good solid players. So you got Tyus Jones, Gary Trent, Luke Kennard, Spencer Dinwiddie, DeMar DeRozan, Bruce Brown, one of the Bogdanoviches, and then you got Buddy Hield and Gordon Hayward. So who's one guy from this tier that you guys would love to have on the squad?
Man.
Go ahead, y'all. Go ahead. Same order. Go ahead,
I'll let
EJ.
you take this one first.
You want me to go first this time? I feel like it's like a Cheesecake Factory menu. You don't know what you want. You want the next guy to go first. So you can take a little while to pick, you know? Big menu. Man, it's if you asked me this a month ago, I would have probably had a different pick. But right now, I think I would go Bogdanovich right now. I just think we need the outside shooting, man. We need the outside shooting. If we go smaller, you could have Tobias and him on the court at the same time. I know his defense is a little rough, but once Embiid's back, we have the anchor down low. I'm just prioritizing shooting above everything else.
I'm going to say if it's a 1 year rental and it's a 1 year deal, I'm going to go with a veteran. I'm going to go with DeMar.
I knew it.
I'm going to go with DeMar, and let's try to win the series. Let's try to get, if Joel could be back and not be 100%, but we have a guy that we know can win a game, and we know a guy you can give the ball at the end of a game and win a quarter for us. So I'm going with that guy.
How would y'all feel about Buddy Hield though?
I like Buddy. I just don't. I think I would rather have a guy like Buddy in the buyout market, not giving up Tobias or anybody like that for him. I believe that Buddy could be a buyout guy. That's kind of how I see him eventually. If things don't pan out in Indiana, or if they're not going to pan out, I believe that he will be a buyout guy. It'll be so many teams going after him.
Oh man, you think he'll force his way out of there because he'd probably have to.
I believe the way that they're going in the guys that they have on their team when they made that move for Siakam and they have so many guys like him, Mathurin, the younger guys. They don't shoot it as well as him, but they have so many guys his size that I think eventually, especially as the year goes, if it for some reason goes south or even maybe goes north, they're going to eventually start deciding on those guys and playing those guys.
Yeah.
I feel the similar way about Bruce Brown on the buyout market.
I like Bruce Brown too.
I think Bruce gets moved. I think Bruce gets moved before the buyout market. I think he gets moved on Thursday.
Okay.
I think he does. Yeah.
I don't think they ever traded him to keep him. Doesn't fit.
Yeah, that was a tough one too. Bruce Brown.
I don't think that they got him to let his contract kind of just dissolve. It's too many teams that think highly of him that they got to get something, even if it's picks, back from that.
Mm-hmm.
Hayward might get bought out too. There's a few buyout guys on this list, possibly.
Yeah, I mean Hayward, but I mean, has he played? Like I haven't really seen Charlotte outside of us, but
I mean,
he really played.
He still misses games. He's on like a permanent minute.
Or is he not playing because they've kind of like moved on to Miller? You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. But I see why you went DeRozan. DeRozan, the best player on the list. You're pretty much saying get the best player and figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even a yearly rental. It's a 3 to 4 month, 5-month rental. Like, that's what it is. So you go get a guy that can play, can win season. You go get that guy.
Yeah.
Marcus?
It also makes it look like, I'd probably go DeRozan as well. It also makes it look like we actually have an effort to try to win a series, not just getting a guy. I mean, just a around the edges move. I think DeRozan would be a guy that could kind of take the load off Embiid if need be, depending on how he recovers from the surgery and whatnot, and also kind of hold the seedings that we're at. If we want to stay within the top 6. Getting a guy like Buddy Hield is not going to really help that. Yeah, I mean, it'll help it, but DeRozan could actually bear the load a little bit.
I think Buddy Hield's probably a better fit once Embiid comes back, though.
No, I do think I think there's guys on here that's probably a better fit for our team than DeMar. I just think with the situation that we're in, the uncertainty of Joel's injury, DeMar is better for that, keeping you in position to win a playoff series.
Okay. That's kind of what I was asking earlier. With the injury to Embiid, or some of these guys kind of like bumping up other guys because of it?
Yeah, I remember before, like, I've never really been high on DeMar on our team, but I'm high now because of the situation. The situation has changed.
It's understandable. Yeah. It's funny because DeMar is the one guy that I've heard that we aren't interested in, but you never know. That can mean nothing. That could just be a smokescreen.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to get to the next group of guys. So this is guys that also 1 year left in their deals, not making as much money of those guys from the previous group. But we got Alec Burks, we got Monty Morris, we got Royce O'Neal, Chris Boucher, Kelly Olynyk, and DeLon Wright. So who from this group is really catching your eye here?
You want me to go first?
If we don't all pick the same guy, I'll be shocked.
I'll go first. I think it's Kelly Olynyk. At the beginning when we talked about the 1 year.
Go ahead. I don't even need to talk. That's who it has to be with this group, because his size, versatility, play the 4 and 5, and he shoots the 3. Like, I don't even think. I mean, even though Royce O'Neal can shoot the 3, but Royce can't really play center. And Royce is kind of similar to what we have a little bit, but Kelly's what we don't have. He fits. He can play some center. Like, I think that should be the easiest out of this group. Like I don't know. I picked it. EJ picked it, or Javon, whatever he's going by today. I don't know. Eric or Javon, EJ, whatever. And Teja. But Teja, Teja may be looking at how much money they got in their pocket. So he may.
I know how much money he's got in his pocket. Call me the accountant. I know how much money he's got.
So he look at him. He's looking at his contracts and stuff and all that stuff. So I don't know.
I'm a big fan. I like Olynyk. I think he's kind of like a poor man's marketing to a degree. Older poor man's marketing. He can even handle it. He averaged 4.3 assists this year. I've bet on Utah a couple times over the last week or two, and so I've watched some of their games. Dude, they give him the ball. They let him play make for them sometimes. Like, he's good, man. I've liked him for quite some time. His cap number was huge a few years ago, but it's he likes it. He likes it in Utah, though, apparently. But what does that mean anymore? I would love that. He could play 4 next to Embiid. He could play 5 when Embiid's out. Huge fan.
Yeah, I would go with Olynyk too. It would be Olynyk, and then Royce O'Neal would be the number 2. The other guys, I don't really. And I don't think Boucher and Nick Nurse, based on what I've read, I don't think they had a good relationship. So that probably take him out of the running there.
Yeah. Well, apparently he has a good relationship with who they have now either then. So.
Yeah. All right. So the next group of guys, so 1 year left. These are guys on a smaller deals than the other guys. So we got some good pieces here. So Andre Drummond obviously leads the way. I think that's the one where everyone probably will go here. Otto Porter, Cedi Osman, And then we got Lonnie Walker, Mike Muscala. Yeah, I mean, not the sexiest names here, but there's some good guys here. But who would you guys go in of this group of guys here?
I'm gonna bring Drummond back. Feel the same deal. Gives you what you need. Very safe choice, but yeah, I don't want to overthink this one.
So if we didn't do Olenek, we just did.
Didn't do Olenek.
Yeah. This is all separate, completely separate. I'd go Drummond. Although again, I've been watching a lot of Utah games. Fontenecchio can ball. He can ball, and he plays D too. And he can hit shots. But I'll go Drummond.
What's his name?
Simone Fontenecchio.
Yeah, he can hoop. He's
6'7".
I'm not doubting he can hoop. I'm just saying how you say his name, man. That's what I'm saying.
I've heard Fontenecchio, but
I can't pick him because I can't say his name. So I'm not gonna pick him because I can't say his name.
Fontenecchio. You gotta do your finger like this. Oh hell, Fontenecchio.
I'm gonna go Drummond. Yeah, I'll go Drummond because of the situation, and he played in Philly too, and he can help you rebound and defend, and he's gonna make the layups and dunks. I definitely would stick with Drummond right now because of that, and like you said, as the game slow down in the playoffs, that's a valuable trait for you.
Yeah.
Would y'all take Fontenecchio over Royce O'Neal?
They'd be close for sure.
Nah, I would take Royce O'Neal in the end.
Okay.
I don't know enough about what's his name.
Fontenecchio.
Yeah, I don't know enough about him, to be honest with you.
But you'd have to give up like Ferk for Fontenecchio. You have to give up like Rocco for Royce O'Neal. So you also have to maybe consider that as well. Who you're giving up in those deals to match the money. And the beauty of Drummond again is that you don't let's say he comes and we're playing really well with him. You don't have to rush Embiid back. He can just worry about getting his conditioning up before he gets on the floor, which is great to have. And Drummond, I mean, a lot of these guys are 1 year left, but Drummond's got a real shot to make his last big contract in the offseason. He'll ball out.
Yeah, he's torn it up this year. I think Vucevic said he doesn't want to break up the core. He says they have something real special over there, which I think is kind of comical because they're playing for like the 10th spot right now.
Yeah, their core.
I'm surprised you didn't want to go with Mike Muscala, Tej. You're a big Muscala fan back in the day.
Muscala did his part for Philly. Got us Maxey, and then that's it. We parted ways, and that's it.
He's been traded like 10 times since, too. Poor guy.
Yeah. But, if we're talking about younger, would be great. But, again, like he's a big man who can hit open shots. He can hit three-pointers.
Solid. Stretch five.
I wouldn't be upset, but, that's not a needle mover. You're not coming away with Muscala at the trade deadline going, guys, we're trying to win it. We're trying to win a championship. You know what I mean? Like it's just true.
Yeah, not gonna be able to rationalize that with a fan base. But hey, Woj has been saying moves around the edges for the longest time, and nothing more around the edges than Mike Muscala trade.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
All right, so we're gonna go to guys with multi-years left on their deal. And these are some fun. These are some sexy names here. These are ones that really really get me going here. So we got DeJounte Murray, Malcolm Brogdon, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Marcus Smart, Jordan Clarkson. Who's one guy that stands out from this group here?
So my thoughts individually, Bogdanovic. But at the beginning of this, I always wanted to find a way to get Clarkson and Olynyk in the same deal.
Yeah.
Not sure what we have to give up at that point, but that's my number one.
You have to give up a lot.
Yeah, you probably have to give up Tobias in that deal for money. matching.
Hmm.
I think Clarkson makes like 17, 18, and Olynyk makes like. Well, I guess you could. Yeah. I mean,
but they're not going to give that up just for Tobias. They got too many. They'll have too many offers for that.
Oh yeah, we have to give up picks in that nature. I was just talking about the money matching portion, but yeah, we have to give up picks too. So yeah, it's tough. This is a hard one though. I think this might be the hardest one so far for me as far as who to pick from.
But individually, I'm going.
It's multi-year though.
It's
multi-year. You know, that's the thing. That's the thing. That's the difference.
Yeah, like if these are all 1 year guys, I probably have a different answer to be honest. Because they're just borrowing them at this point, most likely. But when you're committing, probably go. It's between Murray and Bogdanovich for me. I go Bogdanovich. I think. I just think he has a better fit for what we need right now. Oh man, I could make the same argument for Murray. I just think 3-point, just like spot up and catch and shoot 3-point shooting. I think we go Bogdanovich. And when Murray's contract jumps up after this season, I think he'll be making like 10 less than him too, which is because Bogdanovich is one of those guys who's descending. His contract's going down as he goes along. I think by his last year, he'll be making like 15 or 16, which is pretty fair for him. I think you can bring him off the bench if you need to as well. If you want to keep starting Melton, you could start him. I just think he's a lot more flexible with our team.
I like that. I do like him. I like for that. I would go Brogdon.
Ooh, okay.
Year, because if you're thinking multi-year, I think Brogdon puts you in a situation where you can move Melton.
Yeah.
And he can play off the ball, and he can have the ball. He can be the primary ball handler, and you can move Maxey off the ball part of the game, especially with Joel out or limited. I think the more you have Joel out and limited, the more Maxey plays off the ball, the better for him and the better for the team. So I like Malcolm from that standpoint. That's my only kind of thing about Bogdanovich is that he keeps Maxey strictly on the ball.
Yeah, he would.
So I would probably say Malcolm Brogdon, and Brogdon is shown you that he can play with, all-star players.
Yeah,
play a significant role as a reserve or starter.
Yep. And he's one of the better two-way players on that list too. He'll
always guard. He'll guard the best guard and handle off the ball. So I would choose him. He would be my number one guy. Even though I like Marcus, I would still choose him right now. Marcus Smart would be my second guy, but he's just not healthy.
You take Marcus over Murray?
Yeah, I don't think I don't. I remember I was telling you I like Murray as talent. I think he's out of these guys on here. He's probably the most talented. He's not the best fit for us. Yeah. I don't think he's a good fit with Maxey at all. I think that's a worse fit than Trae Young in him.
Really?
Yes.
That's why I lean towards Bogey. Is I've seen Bogey like at his best playing with Trae Young. He could do the same thing with Maxey, and I'm convinced that will last in a playoff series as well.
Yeah. I don't see Maxey as a Trae Young type guy. Like I don't think they're the same.
Even without Joel?
I think Trae Young excels with the ball in his hands. He's very good, assists, scoring from deep. I think Maxey excels with the ball, but I think you have to play him some if you want the best of him without the basketball, without being the primary ball handler. That's why I don't like Bogey as much with him, because I think you need a guy that can handle the ball more. I mean, we have to remember that he's really been the primary ball handler when Ben didn't play, and then when James came, he gave you 20 numbers. He's giving it to you now, but he did it with James there, and I thought he was a little more efficient. And I thought that him not being the primary ball handler, I thought he was able to give you more defensively.
Do you think Murray will hold the ball too much?
Who?
Do you think Murray will have the ball in his hands too much?
I think if Murray's there, I don't think that he's at his best if he's off the ball. I think he's at his best when he has the ball.
Oh, yeah. And Brogdon's the best middle between those two.
Yes, and Brogdon is just as good. That's why I think Murray's a better player, but I think Brogdon's better fit because he can play on with the ball and without the ball.
If this were a 1-year borrow, would you take Murray over everyone else?
1 year. That's what I'm saying. 1 year, possibly, but maybe not. If we're trying to, maybe it's just 1 year because I still, like I said, I think Murray's the better player. I just don't think he's the better fit.
Yeah.
I think he's a guy that if we were saying, hey, we're going to move Maxey off the ball primarily. He's off the ball. If we were saying that, then Murray easily is who we go after. But that's not what we're saying.
Yeah. Marcus, what you got?
Yeah, I love Bogey. I think Bogey's awesome. That'd be he also kind of looks like the way he shoots the ball. I mean, it's just a pretty shot. It's very Batum-ish. It's a very quick release, and we've seen in the small sample size what Embiid's done with Batum. You can do that kind of stuff with Bogey, a younger guy who can really light up the scoring. I also will say, as far as Brogdon would be my number 2. Brogdon, obviously, we're already interested in Brogdon. There's a report that came out today. We're interested in Hield and Brogdon, 2 of those guys, so we're interested in them. But I think the fact that Brogdon can be play on ball and off ball, great defender, and the revenge factor of going against Boston. He was very slighted by it being traded from Boston. I think having that kind of guy with that kind of edge to play against Boston in the playoffs, that'd be I'd love that. So, Brogdon be a close number 2, though, but I'd go Bogey number 1.
Yeah.
Do
you like the revenge factor, Eric? Is that another nice piece?
Not really. I mean, I don't. It don't really matter to me. I mean, you should be motivated just by winning.
Yeah.
Not necessarily revenge.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna go to our last slide here. So this is multi-year left guys. Not making as much money as the last group. It's a very not the sexiest of names here, but you got Alex Caruso, Dennis Schroeder. Yeah, you think so? Okay.
I'm a little sexed up.
Caruso, Dennis Schroeder, and Dorian Finney-Smith. Who's one guy on this chart that's really you're gravitating towards?
Tough.
Multi-year.
Yeah,
I don't think you can make a commitment to either one of them multi-year. I'm just saying, like, you got if we're saying we're saving our flexibility, you don't make this move. Personally, I don't think you make this move if it hinders your cap flexibility. Now, if you're able to move a guy that has the same amount of years available, I think you do it. And then I think you make that move, and because of I would say again, I think Finney-Smith fits. Dennis, I know fits, but I mean Caruso out of this group probably fits the best. And he gives you the ability, like I say, if you wanted to move Melton or something like that, he gives you the ability to do that.
He's Brogdon-ish.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You get a move somewhere else with him, especially if Stringer's playing well and you well enough that you want to bring him along, that you can probably do that. So I would say Caruso, even though I don't think that a move for either guy on a multi-year deal should be made.
So I saw that report that that the Bulls want a Siakam type deal for Caruso.
It's ridiculous.
That can't be true.
That's ridiculous.
That can't be true.
I'm gonna go with Schroeder. I know Caruso probably fits the best, but if that report is true, like I've seen
that can't be true. That can't be true.
I've seen crazier.
Well, you'll see a guy get fired if they get a deal like that with Chicago.
Yeah,
you'll see that too.
Yeah, seeing what Schroeder could do, even if you take the bubble series, if he can perform in a playoff series with Chris Paul and Shea right beside him, I think he can do the same with Maxey.
Yeah,
it's good logic.
No, that's no doubt. I know what Dennis can do. I'm just thinking multi-year. That's my only thing about it.
Yeah. I'm going Caruso. I for the same reasons you pretty much listed with Brogdon. He'd draw the better and bigger guard in the playoff series. He'd guard Dame. He's big enough to spot guard maybe possibly some of the bigger Boston guys. I could see him being annoying to Tatum. I mean, he's 6'5". It's not small by any means, right? He can shoot. He can bring the ball up the court.
I mean, he played point guard in college.
Yeah,
I coached against him.
He what's he averaging? He's averaging over a block and a steal a game. I mean, man, that's impressive. Yeah, I just think he checks a lot of the boxes. And I know it's a multi-year deal, but it's pretty favorable. I think he's making like 9 this year and 9 next year. For what he brings you, I mean, there's a reason.
None of it is favorable enough to give up your cap flexibility, though. That's my concern.
Yeah. I know it's multi-year, and that is always a negative, especially with the way we're hunting, in the offseason. But I think for return and what he brings you, but I think if they were giving him away, sure, but we also have to give up a lot and multi-year. So that's going to make it a little tough. I just don't think it's realistic. I don't think the Siakam story is true either, but if that's even being said, then there means they're probably asking for a good amount either way. But I would just do Caruso because I think he's a bargain, and I think he checks a lot of the boxes for us still.
Yeah, I would go Caruso too, and then hoping they would throw in Drummond in that trade, but and also hoping that the Siakam rumor is not true either. So we can get Caruso and Drummond in a Chicago Bulls deal. I'd be all about that. So I guess my Caruso liking is connected to possibly getting Drummond in that. So
that's like EJ's version of the Olnick and Clarkson. Yeah.
But yeah, sign me out for Caruso and Drummond if we were to get that. But I don't know. If they are asking for the moon for Caruso, then count me out on that.
Yeah,
it's a good 2-on-2 game. Olnick and Clarkson versus Caruso and Drummond.
Nice.
I think Clarkson and Olnick would take that.
You think so?
I think so.
I agree.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to go. So that does it for all the guys who are available that are trade targets spot there. Mm-hmm. So just to wrap this whole thing up. So we talked about all these guys. And oftentimes, the trade deadline, we talk about all these scenarios, and half the time they never happen for most of the league. I mean, big trades, trades don't happen that much as much the hype that builds up around it. A lot of stuff doesn't happen. But if you guys were to kind of bet on it, what do you think the Sixers end up doing in the end when it's all said and done this week?
We'll make a move, whether it's minor or major. I do believe we'll make a move.
Just one move?
It could be multiplayer. But I believe that a move will be made. I just don't have a sense of if it's a major move or a minor one. Major meaning someone of your top 3 or 4 guys.
Yeah, I Bleav the Olynyk deal will happen. I think they're going to make that one happen. A part of me thinks that they'll go after Buddy Hield. And it's not my top choice, but I think they'll end up doing that as well. If it is a second one.
So you think Olynyk and Buddy Hield?
If they make a second deal, I think it will be Buddy Hield, but Olynyk for sure.
I'd be so happy with that week if we were to get those 2 guys.
Yeah, that'd be yeah. You do that. Marcus Morris and Rocco would probably have to both be traded. Contractual ties. But yeah.
And Indiana would need a Rocco type player.
That's true, actually. Yeah, they would be. I think they'd be okay with that as far as not talking about trade compensation. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, I could see the Olynyk one happening. I think the other one would be, it'd be tough, but if you can get Brogdon and Olynyk, I think we're cooking. But I just don't see the multi-year player happening. They're obsessed with keeping the cap space. I almost think it's a higher priority than winning this year at this point, especially with Embiid. If it was 50-50 before Embiid's injury, I think it's leading the cap space is more important for them than this year. So it's hard to see a multi-year player. And we're rumored to like Kyle Lowry, and he might get bought out. He wasn't mentioned in this at all because he's probably going to get bought out. So there you go. You get your backup point guard who could play a little defense instead of having to trade assets for him. And your Philly guy, Marcus. There you go.
Hey, there you go.
Do you like Lowry over Schroeder?
No.
No. But you wouldn't have to give up assets for Lowry, so
that's what I'm saying. With everything else entailed.
Yeah. Everything considered, I'd rather have Lowry because it's a 1-year rental. Schroeder, I think, has 2 years and like $25 million or something.
But he got paid.
Yeah.
Wow.
22.
Yeah, if that's the case, I would definitely go Lowry then. You have to trade anything for him. And Philly guy, homegrown.
Yeah, there you go. He checks another box for you.
Yeah.
Lowry, Bridges, and just find
and Morris, bring it all home.
There you go, man. There you go. Philly United.
And they trade for Markeith, just to get everybody in.
Yeah, why not? Bring that whole Villanova team back. DiVincenzo.
Well, that's it. New York's got that. They got all that going.
They actually, I mean, you might have to change team.
All right, so final topic here before we get out. So tomorrow night, Wednesday night, Warriors will be coming to Philly. The rematch of last week where Embiid re-injured or hurt his knee against Warriors. So this is on ESPN. So a primetime game on ESPN where we don't have our big man playing. Right now, Sixers are a 1-point underdog against the Warriors. Warriors have their own drama going with Klay Thompson not playing the last 7 minutes of the game last night, and that kind of being a little thing over there in Golden State. But who do you guys have in the game tomorrow night?
I have us winning. I think we'll win it. It was when we kind of, and I anticipate us winning is when we kind of like seem to struggle. So I'm gonna say now, the stakes are there. We know the crowd is gonna be hyped with Steph and the Warriors coming in town. Tough game. Steph has an awesome game as usual, but we still win it.
EJ, what you got?
I don't know. With that one, I have the Warriors winning. I know they have Indiana that next night. I think they're going to win against Philly and then get blown out in Indiana.
I think we win. I think that -1 for Warriors is pretty tricky. Anyone watching how we've been playing would throw their mortgage on -1 Warriors.
A little trap game.
Yeah, I think it's a little trappy. I think we come out and surprise them We were in the Dallas game for a while. We just, the last quarter, we just kind of fell apart. But, yeah, I think we pull it out. I think we win.
Yeah, I'll go with you guys there. I think Philly wins, and I believe Melton's coming back tomorrow night. So that's added juice right there. It's added juice and energy that we haven't really had for the last like 2 or 3 weeks, however long he's been gone. So having Melton back in the lineup, definitely, just having that juice and energy for sure.
Yeah.
But all right, well, hopefully we get this dub tomorrow. But that'll do for us, guys. AJ, thanks for coming on, man. It was really awesome having you on, man.
My pleasure. I enjoyed it.
That's great.
But we'll see you guys
We'll
Friday.
Have you back on after the deadline so we can talk about the trades, man.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes,
Figure
sir.
it out.
Yeah. Friday we'll do the trade deadline. Hopefully the Olenek deal and the Brogdon deal or Buddy Hield deal happens, so we can talk about that on Friday.
Speak it in existence.
Yep.
Manifested.
Yes, sir. All right, guys.
See y'all later.
Take it easy,
All
everybody.
right, guys.